Hello. I have finally ran out of the smaller ones that I could lift with my small Kubota. Now I'm off to the bigger ones. Like you can see up there, they're a little bit too big. It won't lift it. I had to drag it into place. I hope it's into place. Might have to roll a little bit of an angle to get it where it needs to be. But these are the bigger ones. I've been working on the smaller ones, trying to get some sort of a technique down, some sort of a pattern so that I don't mess up so often. So I guess we'll get started and roll that down. First thing is always, so I don't forget, throw these up. Hate to roll that great big one over the side. Pull these back a little bit too. I made some ramps out of 4x4s I cut off. You see, I just put I cut this at a little bit of an angle. I put this on here just so it doesn't try to come off on me. And as you see, I cut that at an angle too to make it easier to roll up. Now I put these 4x4s into place. That little piece of steel you've seen is nothing more than a steel angle. That is actually from a bed frame. I save old bed frames. I can use them as angle and weld with them and things. Now I have to roll the big one into place. If you remember, this one is just too big for the tractor. As you roll it in, you have to get it squared away so it goes up even and goes where you want it. Sometimes you can angle them and spin them. That is something I'm going to have to get better at. I tried that big block. It wasn't going to work. I tried a little one, and guess what? It did not work either. As you see, it rolled right over top of it. It wouldn't lock it in place. So that didn't work out so good. So I'll try, if I can't roll it up and level it out, because that wedge is too small. I'm going to have to make some bigger ones. I'm just going to put a block or a wedge behind the backside. If I can't roll it up and straighten it out, why not try to roll it back down and straighten it out? It went over that angle again, so I'm going to get a bigger piece of wood and put a block in there. And we'll see how this works out. Didn't want to straighten up going up. We'll try straightening it up going down. And this time, guess what? If I can get the pivot in there right, it straightened itself out. As you see how I kind of moved that around, I had it where I wanted it, so it hits the stops in the back. So all I had to do was to use that block as a wedge to spin it down that way. Now it's straight and I can move it up onto the sawmill. Okay, now I'm going to mark the pith of the log on both ends so I can measure and try to get the pith level with each other so I get a better quality of wood out so I don't get a lot of, bad cuts. So it's the best way to start. And I want to cut these big log into 1x, so I need some a little bit better quality lumber than what I did with the 2x4s. Now that I have the pith mark, I'm going to go ahead and clamp it into place. I'm not going to overly tighten it, but I want it to hold it against the back stops there. So as I get ready to raise the lower end up to create a even pith, I want the clamps to hold it into place. As you see me going back and forth measuring, making sure or trying to get where I want it to be. You have to crank it. It'll go up on one side, maybe down on the other side. So you have to continue to measure both sides as you do your cranking. But I obviously got it in the position I wanted to. Once it's in position, I clamp her down solid, and then I just go ahead and cut a couple slabs. Get the first scrap piece off. This particular log has a big bow in the middle. It looks like I cut off too much, but the bow is pretty close in the middle. But once I cut that piece, I did cut a 1x1 out before I flipped it on its side. Now I'm going to flip it on its side. I have to unclamp it. As you seen the fall down, I had to crank it up quite a bit. This log was kind of weird. If you notice, once I get it up on its side, I put the clamps in to hold it against the stops again. But I actually had to crank this side up after I measured it, which was a little bit funny because this is the bigger side. But it's all about the location of the pith. That's what I had to do. I had to move the other side up for a change. One side, now that I have both cuts, once both these cuts are done, I'll have the level bases to go. But before I cut, there was a lot of mud on this one. As you can see, the dust flying off as I take an axe to it. I don't want to dull my blades any more than I have to. I am just cutting the mud off on one side. This will be the side that the blade actually enters in. That's going to dull the blade a lot more. The rest of the front isn't too bad, not as much mud. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that. I'm still very much a newbie at this sawyer work. I do need to get better at quite a few things. And I did learn a valuable lesson again this week. And I do want to get better. I want to be more efficient. I want better lumber. All those things I want to learn. And if you want to, stick around till the end and I'll tell you what I learned that was big this week. Now that I have two sides that give me a pith in the middle when I cut, I don't have to do any more of the raise and lowering of the log to center the pith. It should be centered as I cut. I didn't check it, but it should be there. So I'm going to clamp it and keep on cutting, trying to get the pith in the center of one of the last cuts. You know, the last one by, I want the pith in the center of it. And actually the board layout is another thing I'm going to have to get better at. I am better than what I was at the beginning, but trying to get that pith where the cut is in the center of the board, the 1 inch or even the 2x4 or whatever you're cutting, the pith is in the middle of that particular board. So, but you know, the layouts is a thing. I've watched lots of video on it. It doesn't mean I'm good at it, but it means it's kind of a learning curve, and I am processing as I go along. So I will get better. Now this is my cut for my cant. This last cut will give me the cant. After that, it's just a matter of ripping through them. Now even once I just start ripping through them, you'll see the boards I throw to the left are still going to need edge some. The one edge, which would be the right edge, is not quite right. There is some bark and stuff on it, so those ones will be edged a little bit. But for the most part, you got to get the cant the right size. I mean, it's going to be divisible by an inch because that's what I'm cutting with. So that way the cant is the right size, and the ones to the left will just have to be re-edged. Okay, now I'm just going to continue to rip this board up here and make my 1-bys. That's all this board's going to be. I'm going to make complete 1-bys. As you see, I'll also do some edging with this. I'll put the board up and I'll end up and do some edging. But the smallest 1-bys I'm getting out of this is 1x6s. Everything else is going to be 1x8s or 1x6s. I'm going to cut it down here a little bit more, and then I am going to use it for a backing to do some edging on some of the other boards. You see, I'm just going to cut this one down an inch. I got to be careful on which ones I put up. I probably need to refine that technique a little bit too, because I kind of moved a lot of boards up and down, and I measured them to see what I could get out of them, and then I just went ahead by the gauge on the side and see what I could get out of them. I mean, you want to get as much wood as you can. But everything worked out okay. I mean, probably not the speediest and probably not the fastest, but I'm getting the job done one way or another. There's another edging I'm going to have to do there. And then the rest is just going to be cutting into 1-bys. Once everything's cut, now it's time to stack it up. I had to carry it down to my new drying rack that I made on last week's video. So it's good I made it. This is one of the reasons why I made it. I got some bigger logs to cut up now that I'll make into 1-bys. The real small ones, I don't know whether it's worth it. Those ones I was making in 2x4s and 2x6s and 6x6s and that kind of sizes. But these 1-bys, I'm using the bigger logs. As you see, I put 1-inch stickers between each layer and it's stacked up. Well, I wish I would have counted the logs to let you know how much came out of that one log, but I did not. Sorry about that. Maybe next time.
Well, I got that log caught up. It is in the mid-90s today. I'm going to quit for the day. I'm a little bit worn out. I need a lot of cleanup to do, so I'm not going to cut up any more logs today. I'm going to clean up, and then I'm going to go down and take a hydration break. But that's it. I cut up that great big log. I got a lot of 1-bys. I didn't count them, but quite a few 1x8s, a few 1x6s. But it cut better. I put a new blade on it too before I started. It certainly does help. I still need to figure out how long to keep a blade on. I'm still struggling with that a bit. But once again, I don't know. What did I learn from this one? You can't tighten the ones up too much either, because then it starts bowing them up. So then you get a little bit of a bad edge. I had a little bit of bad edge on that one. It's not going to matter too much in a 1-by, especially being I'm using them for board and batting. But I need to pay attention to that. If you over tighten them, it wants to kick it up a little bit, and then you get a little bit of a bad spot in the bottom, or you got to go more towards the middle. But that was the biggest learning curve today. Other than that, I want to say thank you for watching. Thank you for viewing. I appreciate your time. If you haven't subscribed, think about it. It doesn't cost you a thing, and you'd help this old man out, a sweaty old man. So once again, I thank you, and this is the old man with the plan. I'll see you later.